Hello, homemakers and everyone in the chat. We are live. On today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose, we're going to get into cleaning routines for working moms. Last week, we talked about the power of routines and how routines can be so helpful, how they can be a homemaker's best friend. And if you missed that episode, I'll link it above with an iCard and I'll also put it in the description box below. But just as a refresher, a routine is a habitual performance of an established procedure of commonplace or repetitive character. And routines are important because routines are efficient. And because they're efficient, they save you time. And that's what we want to do is save time. So for all the moms out there, time is of the essence, but for working moms, it is particularly important. There are just not enough hours in the day for moms in general and working moms in particular. I see my ladies are jumping on to say hello. So hello to the chat. I am so glad you're here, and hopefully you will jump in and share some of your insights on this important topic. So for right now, though, let's drill down on the definition of working moms. And the reason why I want to make sure we have a definition of working moms is this. All moms are working. It is not an easy chore to be a homemaker or to be a mom. So you are busy. And when they say a woman's work is never done, a mother's work is never done because you're busy from sun up to sundown. So, yes, you are definitely working. However, for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to look at working moms as a mom who was working either outside of the home. So you go outside the home and you work either half-time or full-time. So that's anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours a day. You're working and you're being paid by an employer, or you're working at home, but again, you're still being paid by an employer. So either, let's say, for example, let's say I work for AutoZone and I'm working from home from 8 to 12 every morning or something like that. I'm a working mom. So that's what I mean. It's what Fly Lady Cat always called a payroll mom, a payroll homemaker, someone who is accepting a paycheck from an employer, and you're either working outside the home or you may be working inside the home. But that's what we're talking about when we're looking at working moms. If you're not familiar with Fly Lady Cat, when I mention her from time to time, I will link her in the description box so that you can check her out. She will prove to be a great resource for you. And I want to ask right now, what is your cleaning routine? Or do you have one? Tell me in the chat or on the replay. So what's your cleaning routine? Tell me in the chat and tell me on the replay. And I just want to put here where Adrian says moms and homemakers work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm going to say, Adrian, you're absolutely right. Moms, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, which again, we're looking at the definition in terms of today, you're a stay-at-home mom, or your mom that's working outside the home or working inside the home for an employer, you're working 24/7. You definitely are. So mom's work is never done, whether it's at home or outside the home. So there's that. And before I forget, I want to say welcome to Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best ideas, interviews, and information for today's homemaker. I am Denise Jordan, your host, and the tonight's episode, as always, is sponsored by Apron Diva, Pretty and Practical. We believe that an apron is a homemaker's best accessory, and Apron Diva is my online apron boutique. So here I am. And then our featured apron, this continues to be the Valentina, our Valentine's apron, but also our sweet bee, our Beatrice is also back in stock. And it is very popular right now with the little bee kind on it. And boom, let me just say, when we talk about being kind, let's talk about being kind to yourself. Let's talk about being kind to yourself, because as women, as moms, as homemakers, we can be the hardest on ourselves other than other people. So you want to be kind to yourself. You want to give yourself just a little bit of grace. So now, if you ask yourself, where do I start? Well, as a working mom, you really have to maximize your time. And again, if you're just joining us for the purposes of this conversation, a working mom is one who is paid by an employer, and she is either working half-time or full-time, either outside of the house, or she's working half-time or full-time inside of her house. But she is expected to be honoring her commitment to that employer at the time that she is home. So, as a working mom, one of the most important things you're going to need to do is to maximize your time when you are home. And for you, it's really going to be that time before work and that time after work, because the middle of the day, that middle of the time when you're at work, that time block is already gone to someone else. So you're going to have to really look at, what do you need to do before you go to work, and then what can you do after work, and then before you go to bed. And so if you ask yourself, where do I start? Just like we talked about creating routines last week, you want to create a routine that works for you. But that routine is going to be maximizing your before work, your after work, and your bedtime hours, so that you can not only maximize your time, but also maximize your energy. Now, me, I am the Energizer Bunny first thing in the morning. But come 4 o'clock, I'm starting to wind down. And by 6 o'clock, by the time dinner's done, there's not much happening after dinner. Get dinner done, get the after dinner cleanup done, that kind of thing. And then I'm getting my PJs on and I'm sitting down for the night. Now, I don't have littles at home, so I can do that. But for those of you that have been at work all day, you get off work, pick the kids up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, get home. Now you got to come in, and now you got to get your mom hat. You got to get your apron on and get busy doing some things now. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is figuring out how you're going to maximize that time at home. So, oh, and let me just back up for a second. What I mentioned, for those of you moms who are working from home, and sometimes it's a struggle, or can be a frustration, because you're home, your family may expect you to do all the things that need to be done because you're home. But if you're home and you're on the time clock for an employer, you're expected to be doing the work that the employer is paying you for. They're not paying you to take care of your baby, to take care of your kids, to start your laundry. They're not paying you to do all of that. They're paying you to be focused and take care of the work that they're paying you for during the time that you're home. So if your family has difficulty understanding, well, honey, you're home, why can't you do this? It's like, I may be working from home, but I'm on the job. And there are things that I just can't do because I'm on the time clock. So try to get them to help you understand that. So now, if you ask yourself, where do you start? You want to start with creating a schedule or creating a routine for before work, after work, and bedtime, so that you can maximize that time and maximize your energy, maximize some time spent with your family. And one of the big things is that once you get the routines in place and your family comes to see what those routines are, they can participate. They can help you with those routines. Now, the one thing that I do want to say is you want to keep the routines short. Because again, you've already had 4 to 8 hours taken out of your day. So now you want to spend some of that time with your family, but then there's also time that must be spent doing things that moms and homemakers just have to do. And you don't want to spend all your free time working. So set a schedule that you can stick to. So when I say keep the routine short, you want to keep the routine short because if it's too long, you'll be exhausted and less likely to get it accomplished. So keep the routine short. But let's start with the before work routine. And I'm going to come over and I'll look at the chat in just a little bit. But let's just start looking at some of that. Oh, wait a minute. I better make sure I spell that right. Yes. So let's start with the before work routine. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I want to mention it again. One of the things that you want to make sure you do, particularly if you're having to leave the house to go out to work, you need to get yourself up 30 to 45 minutes before your family. Now, you know what time that needs to be. And there's some of these miracle mornings where people are getting up at 4:30 in the morning and they're accomplishing so much stuff and that kind of thing. I might be able to do that because I'm a morning person. I like getting up early, but I don't know if I could do that every day. And I am not trying to insinuate that that is absolutely necessary because if you've got a long day that you're putting in outside the home or in the home for outside work, and then you've got your home stuff still to do, 4:30 just may not be an option for you. But you know what time that needs to be. So get up 30 to 45 minutes before your family. Get yourself dressed and ready for the day. Now, part of that getting yourself dressed and ready for the day could mean that you're going to spend some time in prayer. It could mean that you're going to meditate, that you're going to exercise. I get up and the first thing I do is I put on my yoga clothes, I get my yoga done, and then I get my day started. Because if I don't get that yoga done first, I don't find that I typically don't get back to the mat. So I try to get that done first. But you do you. Get yourself up early enough to get yourself ready and get the things done that you need to do to be peaceful in the morning so that by the time you're getting your family up, you're not making them crazy because you're crazy because you're having to rush out the door. Once you're ready, make the bed if there's nobody in it, and then start a load of laundry. Now, start that load of laundry. I would say get the clothes organized the night before. Maybe you even put them in the washing machine before you go to bed. And then you can just start the washer first thing in the morning so that by the time you're done with your morning routine, kids are done with their morning routine, that load of laundry has been washed. But make your bed and start a load of laundry. Then unload the dishwasher. Get those dishes out of the dishwasher and get them put away so that the dishwasher is ready to accept dirty dishes throughout the day. Then get your kids up and put them through their morning routine. That means you're going to get them up and they're going to hit the bathroom. They're going to get breakfast. They're going to grab their backpacks, and then they're going to be off for school. Those are important things that need to happen. And then you're going to clean up after breakfast. Older children can help you do this. And if you feel like it's quicker for you to do it yourself during the week, then do that. You know what time frames you have. And then get yourself out the door for work. Now, all of this shouldn't take more than an hour or so in the morning. So again, you're going to get yourself up 30 to 45 minutes before your family. And then once you're dressed and ready, then you're going to get your family up, get them dressed and ready, and then you're going to get them breakfast. So once they're up and they've had their breakfast, and then you've started the laundry, unloaded the dishwasher, and that kind of thing, that shouldn't take more than an hour. So think about how much time you're taking in the morning. If you're dawdling, then you want to get a move on it. For those of you that are just joining us, We are diving into routines, cleaning routines for for moms that work outside the home. So, cleaning routines for working moms. And for the benefit of this conversation, a working mom is someone who is paid by an employer to work either outside the home or inside the home. But if you're working inside the home, you're on the clock for a period of time. And so that's not time that can be spent caring for your family. And for those of you that are young homemakers and looking for mentoring, I want to let you know that I am opening up my homemakers mentoring program that's starting in March. It will be limited to just 10. So if you're interested, send me an email at thisandthatwithdenise@gmail.com. Let me put this email up here again. So send it to this email if you're interested in being mentored by me. I am scheduling calls this week and next week to talk about whether or not you'd be a good fit for the program. Okay. All right. So now we've talked about the before work routine. So let me go over here and just check real quick um, in the comments and see what people are saying. So I've got Deb Whitmore, who was the first one on today. Deb, thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. Princessa, hello. It is good to have you here. And then Adrian and Shania and everyone is saying hello. Adrian said I made a good point. Not sure what that was, but and then some people are saying that moms are busy from sun up to sundown. Yes, we are. And we have to figure out how to make that work for us. Oh, and Joe says she needs to go, but she did want to pop in and say hi. Hey, Joe, we are glad you did. We already mentioned that moms and homemakers work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so here's a cleaning schedule. Adrienne Lynn says her cleaning routine is where she cleans a room or two on Sunday, Thursday, and then she does laundry either every day or every other day. So her cleaning routine is that she will clean a room or two on Sunday, Thursday, and then she does laundry every day or every other day. Let me get that ticker off there because that drives me crazy. There we go. Princessa says she's a baking mom. So first for her, it's the oven, and then her husband has hired help. So she would say if you can hire help, even if it's for 1 day a week, boom, I'm all for it. I would love to have had hired help when I was younger. We just couldn't afford it. Or we chose to use our money differently. If I knew then what I know now, I would have hired some help. But yes, so Princessa said she just clean and cook every day lightly, but she has hired help and then she does some baking. So that's good. Hey, I ain't mad at you, Princessa. Trust me, I am not. So Rain Diamond says she's an ICU RN and her schedule is very flexible. She works full time at nights on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every week. Her children are below the age of 5, and then her husband works Monday through Friday. So, Rain, here's the thing for you, and I'm a retired RN myself, so I know all about those schedules. I get it. So, you work the weekend shift, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, you're caring for your family full time, Monday through Thursday. So you can probably get most of your homemaking things during the week if you schedule them appropriately. You can do laundry every day. Um, and since your kids are below the age of 5, probably the 5-year-old may be going out to kindergarten for half a day, but the rest of them are home full time. So you're going to want to be maximizing your time when the kids are taking their naps. You're going to be getting some things in, but you can. Now, I like the Fly Lady cleaning system. So typically I can have everything that I need to have done in my house. I can have that done by 10:30 or 11 o'clock at the latest, but definitely by noon, I've got all the things that I need to do, except maybe folding up some laundry by 12 or 1 o'clock. So you can get all of those things done. So you kind of have the best of both worlds because your 9 to 5, or probably more likely, it's going to be 7 to 7 or 12 to 12. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every week. So you're going to be getting those other things done during the week. So that works out pretty good. Your husband works Monday through Friday. So Friday, you're going to miss him unless, he comes in, unless you're off at say 3 o'clock. If you're at 3 to 3, you might be home by 3:30, 4 o'clock, and can have dinner with him and the family. So that's kind of a nice schedule. However, you don't get much downtime because if you're working every weekend and then you're with the kids Monday through Thursday full time every day, there's really no time for you to catch a break. So you're going to really want to maximize your time during the day. When you get those littles down for their nap, and the 5-year-old may be too old for a nap, but he or she is not too old for a quiet time. So if that one is going to school until say noon, maybe their morning kindergarten, when they're home after they have their snack, they can go into their room for some quiet time. And then maybe you might take a couple of hours of quiet time for yourself because it's going to be important that you are getting that quiet time for you. Okay, let me go on and just see. So Rain says, so she saves on childcare. So her cleaning schedule is Monday through Thursday. She cleans a room or two each day and then still spends time with her children. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I would think of. So cleaning a room or two each day and then spend time with the kids. So on the weekend, she's just going to work. And then when she comes home, she's going to be exhausted. So there's not much work going to be happening on the weekend with Rain because if she's just working those 3 days, she's probably working a 12-hour shift. So that means when she's home, she's going to be exhausted. So dinner may be something she can pull out of the freezer. Maybe hubby took care of dinner on the days that she's working, or she's planning something ahead. And it's just like a refrigerator meal that they can pull out. So I get that. So Rain said she feels like a stay-at-home mom, but with a full-time job, and it's perfect work-life balance for her at the moment. Yeah, okay. That's working right now for them. So good on you. I like it. Um, Hi Tilly. I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. So Tilly says she likes to clear the dishwasher at the start of, well, that clearing the dishwasher at the start of the idea is golden. And I think it is. Now, Joe, who is the minimal zebra, she was on a minute or so ago. She said last week she likes to run her dishwasher and empty it the night before so that before she goes to bed, the dishwasher has been emptied. So when she gets up in the morning, that's not a task she has to do. It's already done. Either or, whatever works for you. But I like running the dishwasher just before I go to bed. That way, if there's any extra dishes, hubby decides he wants a bowl of fruit or whatever, those last few glasses of water or whatever are in the dishwasher, and then I set it before I go to bed. So when I get up in the morning, that's one of the first things I'm going to do. So then it's ready to accept dirty dishes for the day. If you like to get your run the dishwasher and then put those dishes away before you go to bed, that works too. But for you working moms, I just kind of caution you about wearing yourself out before you go to bed. That's not something you would have to do. However, you know how your morning routine is going to go. So if you know your morning routine, that your kids are going to be a little crazy, a little wild. And so for you, it's better to have as much done the night before as possible. Then run that dishwasher. And then the last thing you do before you get in bed is unload the dishwasher, have the dishes put up so that in the morning, that's one less task for you to do. You have to decide that. And that's what we mean by creating routines that work for you. So there's that. Cal, my goodness gracious. Hey, Cal, I have not talked to you forever. I am so glad that you could join us today. For those of you that have just joined us, we are talking about homemaking routines for the working mom. So, point of contention. Ooh, crafty Scorpio. My husband expects a new dinner every night. No leftovers. You know, crafty Scorpio, and tell me your name, crafty. You might have told me before and I forgot. There are some men that are like that. My sister's husband was like that. He would not eat leftovers. She had to make a new dinner every day. But here's the thing. you can create some meals that he won't know he's having a leftover. For example, you make a roasted chicken on Sunday for dinner. You cut that chicken in half, well, depending upon how many are going to eat from that chicken. If you need to use the whole chicken, then you cook 2 roasted chickens on Sunday, put one um, on the table that you have for dinner. The other one, you're either going to make some kind of a chicken casserole or maybe chicken and dumplings or whatever for later in the week. So you're going to take that chicken, you're going to tear the meat up, you're going to fix it for however you're going to do it and get it ready and get that put in the refrigerator and or in the freezer. And let's say if you do it on Sunday and maybe you're going to have something with that chicken on Wednesday or Thursday, I'd probably still put it in the freezer just so it's a little bit fresher. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, get that chicken out, and then you're going to make that new meal, chicken and dumplings. You're going to make white chicken chili or chicken tacos. You're going to do something, chicken pot pies, but it's a new meal. It's a new dinner. It's not a leftover. You have to maximize your time. So to do it that way. And I get it. I know there are lots of husbands that are like that. So Tilly says she works in marketing and works remotely from home Monday through Friday, and she has 2 littles. She's looking forward to chatting with me about my mentoring program. So send me an email, Tilly, because I've got certain time slots that I've set aside to connect with people. So send me an email tonight, and then I'll get back with you and let you know what time slots are available. We can talk about the program. So Miss Faya says she's also a newly stay-at-home mom, baking mom, Princessa, and she's trying to balance out homeschooling her 7-year-old niece and her 1-year-old son. Well, luckily, you won't be homeschooling the 1-year-old son. That 1-year-old, that 12-month-old baby is still a baby. So you won't have to worry about homeschooling that one. You're still going to be playing with blocks and, eyes, ears, look at me, eyes, ears, nose, and you're going to be doing all those kind of things with that baby. But the 7-year-old is definitely you're going to have on a schedule. And I talked last week about scheduling for stay-at-home moms, and I can come back around to that in a little bit. But let me get this other stuff out of the way. But Faya, it sounds like you're a perfect candidate for my home mentoring program. So send me an email so that we can talk about it. But trying to balance homeschooling and then work. So you're still going to want to create a routine. So let me get through the material for the working moms, and then I'll come back around for the stay-at-home moms. So I'll do that. So Faya says she really needs to work on a schedule that maximizes her baking revenue, but not take away for the children's needs. She specializes in gourmet cookies. Okay, so you're a working mom, Faya. So even though you say you're a stay-at-home mom, you are a working mom because you have a business and you have a business where you are working from home. So yeah, you're going to have to figure out when's a good time for you to bake. And you may or may not be able to get some baking done while the little ones are asleep. So now that 7-year-old homeschools usually only takes 2, maybe 3 hours at the most a day. You don't spend 8 hours in homeschooling like you do in regular school because you're not dealing with a class of 24 to 30 kids. You have 1, 2, or 3. So you don't need to be homeschooling for 8 hours. And if that's what you're doing, then you need to do a little bit more research on homeschooling so that you can get that squeezed into a time block. But see, you're going to need to set a baking time block and a homeschooling time block, as well as your homemaking things. So if you want to try to bake and not take away from your children's needs, you might have to bake in the evening once the kids are down for the night. I don't know if your niece lives with you or not, but you might have to bake in the evening. Now, you could maybe prep some things during the day so that when the kids are down for the night, you're ready to start baking, or you might work on paperwork related to your orders during the day and then get to baking later on in the evening. I'm having all kind of alerts binging here, binging over there. So excuse me if I seem a little distracted. I should have left all these other devices out of the room. Yeah, not enough time for you or with your husband. So yeah, you don't have enough time in the day. So Princessa says they don't eat leftovers either. She packs it up and takes it to the local shelter or Salvation Army or sometimes to homeless people that gives away. Um, So we have Brooks, who runs her own social media business and has three kiddos. She generally works full time and her children go to school. She wants her evenings and weekends to be focused with the babes. And I understand that too. So, in that regard, then, Brooks, what you're going to want to do is make sure that while the kids are at school from, say, 8:30 to 3 o'clock is about the time that kids are in school these days, you're going to want to do your work for your social media business and your homework during that time. And if you're working full time though, here's the thing. You can set your own hours, but if you're working with clients or need to be accessible for clients, it may be unrealistic for you to expect that you can get your full-time work done and full-time homekeeping work done during the week so that your evenings and weekends are free. You don't want to wear yourself out. You want to try to keep a happy medium there. So you'll have to set up a schedule that works for you. And it could be, since you're running your own social media business, are you working 8 hours a day? Are you doing that 6 hours a day? How is that working for you? And if you're doing, say, 8 hours a day, then that means that some of the time that just because your family's not there doesn't mean you're not working. You still got housework that needs doing. And if you're not doing it during the time when you're supposed to be working or before work, then it's going to have to happen after work or on the weekends. So you're going to have to decide what works best for you. And you said you generally work full time. Now, if you're working, let's say you can get that full time down to 40 hours a week in 4 days. Let's say Monday through Thursday, you can get your business done. And then that leaves you Friday that you can use full time for your house. Or let's say you, once the kids are up and out the door, and I'm assuming the kids are usually out the door by about 8 o'clock, so they can be at school between 8 and 8:30. Then let's say you get up a little earlier before everyone else is. As I said, you get up 30 to 45 minutes before your family. Maybe you need to get up an hour to an hour and a half before your family so you can get more housework done before they get up. So there's that to think about. All right, let me get back to my notes. Make sure I got all the before work stuff done. Okay. So we talked about creating a schedule before work that included some things that you could get done before you left out the door for work or before you headed into your home office to sit down at your computer. So once you've gotten yourself up, dressed, and ready for the day, you've done whatever it is you need to do to center yourself, to get yourself together. Then you're going to start a load of laundry. You're going to unload your dishwasher. Then you're going to get your kids up, get them together, and, bathroom, breakfast, backpacks, lunches, and all that kind of thing. Clean up after breakfast. And then your older ones can help you. And then hopefully you can get what happens with the kids and the breakfast and all that stuff done in less than an hour. And then you're going to either head out to the door for work or you're going to go in your home office and you're going to sit down at your computer and you're going to do what you need to do there. Now, let's look at after work. So once you're home, then there's still going to be work you need to do. So let's say you pick those kids up from school or you get home, the kids are already there. You want to give them a really light snack, not a heavy snack, but a really light snack because they're going to be hungry. Kids are always hungry and they always want a snack. But you want to give them a really light snack so that when dinner's on the table, they'll still be hungry enough to eat it. And then you're going to move the laundry that you put in the washer before you left into the dryer, get your dinner started, get homework started. And then once you've gotten dinner done, your after dinner routine comes into play. That's cleaning up after dinner, and everyone helps. Fly Lady Cat says if they're big enough to carry a plate, they're big enough to help. So if they're 3 years or older, they can walk their plate or whatever they have over to the sink. They may just set it in the sink or set it on the counter, or they bring it over and hand it to you and you put it in the dishwasher, whatever. One of the older ones can be wiping down the table while somebody else is stacking up the dishes or whatever. But everyone can help with the after dinner cleanup, and it gets done so much quicker. And if you start teaching them to help you with that after dinner cleanup early, they'll just rotate and they'll know to do that as they get older. And it's just so much easier. Also, part of your after dinner routine is going to be checking backpacks. Do you have to check them for any permission slips, any notes from the teacher, any homework? Whatever papers that are in there that needs checking, that needs looking at, you're going to do that after dinner. And then you're going to start your dishwasher, fold the clothes that you put in the dryer when you came home, and then get them put away and have your family help you put the clothes away. Have your family help you put the clothes away. So whatever it is, you get them out of the dryer, they can help you fold. And then you say, here's your stack, and go put these in your drawer. I don't want to come upstairs and find these things on the floor or in the closet. I'm going to come upstairs to check, and they better be in your drawers. You want to make sure they're putting things where they belong. And your after dinner cleanup probably shouldn't take any more than 30 to 45 minutes. Then it's time to start your before bed routine. Now, again, you've worked all day. So let's say 5 o'clock, you get dinner on the table. So now it's 6 o'clock, dinner's done. And you've folded up the load of laundry. You've chatted with your kids for a little bit, give them little hugs, kisses, that kind of thing, help them start their homework. Got clothes folded up, got those put away. Now it's time to do your before bed routine. Oh, and you might also want to do a clutter stop after you do your after dinner cleanup. And you can either do that before the kids go up. If they're big enough, they can help you with that after dinner clutter stop, which is like a quick tidy up. You're checking to see if anything's gotten out of place, that's gotten put where it shouldn't be. And then they can help you put things where they go, help you tidy things up. But if they're too small for that, then you can do the tidy up and then get them upstairs and start getting them ready for bed. These doggone chirps are driving me crazy. Sorry about that. So when you get the kids upstairs, or if you're one level, you're going to get them into the bathroom. And so they'll get their shower, their bath, whatever it is that they're taking. And then with those that are really small, you'll have to help them with their baths and then get them put down for the night. Kisses, hugs, bedtime stories, all that kind of thing. And then your ones that are a little bit older, still kisses, hugs, sometimes bedtime stories, but they may be old enough to get their own shower or bath, that kind of thing. And then once they've got that done, they can help you clean up the bathroom, meaning towels are picked up and hung up on the rack. Dirty clothes are taken and put into the dirty clothes hamper. They don't leave all that stuff on the floor for you to do. They help put those things away. And then they choose their clothes for the next day, or you help them put their clothes out for the next day, so that in the morning when you get up, you're not having this battle over, I don't want to wear that. No, they've already picked out the night before, or you've helped them select the night before what they're going to wear, and it's laying out. So when they get up in the morning, they hit the bathroom, face and teeth, that kind of thing, get dressed, and they can keep it moving. So that's important that you build that into your evening routine. And then once they're in the bed, I think it would be important that you do your daily swish and swipe, or your daily wiping down of the mirror, the bathroom sink, and the toilet swish, that kind of thing, at night. Once everybody's had their showers and they're in bed for the night, that's a good time to do it because now people are in the bed. You can get that done, and it's not something you have to worry about doing in the morning. It's already done. And then collect their backpacks, put the backpacks by the front door. And they can help pack their backpacks as part of their bedtime routine. They pack their backpacks with whatever they're going to be needing. And then those backpacks are set by the door and include the shoes either by the door or when you lay their clothes out, have the shoes right there because you do not want to spend time in the morning looking for a shoe. And I can't tell you how many families do that. And my husband and his brothers always laugh at their youngest brother because they always said when they were younger, whenever they got ready to go somewhere, this one particular brother was always looking for his shoes. And a couple of times they left him and he was at home crying because he got left because he couldn't find his shoes. So have their clothes laid out and their shoes. And then you're going to make their lunches the night before. Unless you want to do that in the morning, but I encourage you, if at all possible, make the lunches the night before, have in the refrigerator what needs to be refrigerated, but maybe it's in a little brown paper sack so that in the morning you can just grab it out of the fridge and drop it in their backpack and they're good to go. So there's that. Or get up early enough that you make those lunches in the morning. But it's just easier if you can do it the night before. So now let me ask you, for those of you who have littles and you're trying to sort that out now, how do you handle lunches? Are you making lunches the night before or are you getting up early enough to do those in the morning? Tell me in the comment section if you're on the replay and tell me in the chat if you're here now. And I'm going to go over and see what's going on in the chat because the chat is hopping. So I already mentioned that Tilly says she works in marketing and works remotely from home Monday through Friday with two littles. So she's a full-time mom, but she's also a payroll homemaker. So hopefully she's got some childcare for those two littles because that's one of the things. If you're working from home, whoever it is that you're working for, they're expecting you to do the work that they're paying you for. So it's important if you can send those littles out for childcare so that you can get the work done at home that needs to be done. So that would be good for you if you could do that. Okay, so Brooks also we got Brooks's. Brooks said she needs to figure out how to get it all done during the week and minimize on the weekends. Yeah, Brooks, I can see the point. But as I recall earlier, you said you had a full-time job at home, plus you have the littles at home. There it is, right there. You said you have your own social media business and three kids, and you usually work full-time, and your children go to school. So depending upon how full-time is your social media business, is your social media business 9 to 5, 8 hours, or is your full-time social media business, we'll say 8 to 2. If it's 8 to 2, then maybe you can get some things done in a 2-hour slot, or you may need to get up earlier to try to get that done. Oh, now Rain said her husband cooks. Now that's good. If your hubby cooks, you got a jewel right there because he can do some of the cooking while you're doing some other stuff. So maybe between the two of you, you guys plan the menu for the week and then you order the groceries. And if you're a full-time mom that's working either inside the home or outside the home, ordering groceries is going to be huge for you. Get them ordered so that all you have to do is pick them up or arrange for delivery, or maybe arrange for him to pick them up on the way home. And while he's picking them up, you're doing something else at the house or something like that. That could be important there too. So Princess is talking to Crafty, so I'm going to let them have that conversation. So Cookie said she's struggling to find the time to wash, fold, and put away for everyone. We have laundry piled up on my bedroom floor. Okay, so Cookie, what I don't know from you is whether or not you're working full time or part time, but or if you're a stay at home or whatever. But here's the thing: if you've got laundry folded and you've got laundry piles on the floor, you've got too much laundry to do at one time. So for you, I would encourage you to do either one or two loads every day. If you've got two or three kids, especially if you've got little, sometimes it's hard just to do one load a day because little ones generate a lot of laundry. Typically, they can wear their things one time and that's it. But when you do that load of laundry, don't put another load in the wash. Um, um don't put, don't take that load. Oh, all right, let me say it this way. One, you've got a load that goes in the wash and you're doing something else, and then you put it in the dryer. So now you put another load in the wash, but you've got a load that's in the dryer. You can't put another load in the dryer until the load that's in the dryer has been taken out and folded up. You can't take that load out of the dryer and put it in a laundry basket. You got to take it out of the dryer, walk over to the kitchen counter, while you throw the one that's in the washer now in the dryer, and you're folding what's on the kitchen counter right now, and then you're putting it away. And get your littles to help you put it away. And you tell them, so you so Susie, here are your things. Go put them in your drawer. Jimmy, here are your things. Go put them away. Your husband's shirts or whatever, you get those things out of the dryer and you have a stack of hangers hanging up right there over your laundry area. So that when you pull those shirts out, you can put them on a hanger, shake them out, and then hang them up right away because you don't want them to get wrinkled. Because if you're like me, I wasn't ironing. I had an epiphany when I was younger, and I just thought, why am I ironing? He knows how to iron. So it's like I got him out of the dryer and I hung him up, and I didn't iron. If they needed ironing, he was going to have to do that himself. So do that. And if you've got laundry right now piled on the floor in your bedroom while you're listening to me talk, start folding some of that up. Get the kids in there to help you. Well, they might be doing homework, but still get them in there to help you, even if it's just for 10 minutes. I need you guys to come in here and help me with this laundry. Have them pick out their own things, and then they can fold up those things and put them away. I was down with my younger son. Can't remember now what we were there for, but I was helping the girls put some laundry away, and I was getting ready to fold up their underwear. And Morgan says, "Oh no, I don't fold underwear." I'm like, "You don't?" She says, "No, I just put it in the drawer." Now, granted, she's small, and so she's a girl, and she's like 11, so the underwear is still pretty small. But she said she just stacks them up and puts the stack in the drawer. So you do what works best for you. So your littles, you can just stack the underwear up, put the socks together, and have them put them away that way. But get them to help you. And if you've got a lot of laundry that needs to be put away, then tell everyone, say, okay, so we got to get this laundry done before you wash anymore. Take care of what's already washed and say, we're going to work on this mountain of laundry. Mount Foldmore is what they call it in the Fly Lady system. Say, we're going to work on Mount Foldmore. And then maybe for half an hour, you guys just sit there and all of you work on that mountain of laundry and then get that put away. And then if you can't get it done in half an hour, then the next day you got another 30 minutes. We're going to work on this mountain of laundry and you're going to get it put away until it's done. And I wouldn't wash anymore until that load of laundry is done and put away. And then once you got that taken care of, then wash one load, no more than two loads every day. And then while one's in the wash and before you can put another one in the dryer, you get those out and get them folded up and put away. And if you have a problem with laundry baskets, because we used to have that laundry, we put laundry in a laundry basket, then it sits in the basket and you're pulling clothes out of the basket looking for stuff, then don't have a laundry basket. If you know that a laundry basket is just a place to store clothes, then don't keep one in your house. All right. Okay, they're talking. I like you guys are talking to each other. Cookie Swirl, send me an email here Send me an email and I'll let you know what times I have available to chat, and then we can see whether or not that can work for you. Okay. Crafty, her name is Cam. Okay, Crafty Scorpio. I think it was Crafty. Yeah, her name is Cam. Okay. I have a cousin we call Cam. So containing toy clutter is a struggle. Face red, droopy eyes, almost all the things they bring home from school. Well, I get that. Containing toy clutter is a struggle. You know, toy clutter probably has to be picked up 2 or 3 times during the day, because one of the things that kids naturally do is they want to look in their toy basket. The first thing they do is dump it all out on the floor. That's just how they are. Kids just do that. And so you can get them maybe every couple of hours, okay, it's time to pick everything up. They got to pick everything up and put it back up on the shelf. And then when they want to play with something else and they dump it all out, it's okay. After a couple of hours, it's time to put it all up. So, yeah, and they do bring things home from school. They bring home school papers and books and all those kinds of things. Tell them they can only keep so many pictures or papers or whatever. Everyone keeps different little pictures and things on the refrigerator so that everyone can see it, but maybe they can only keep so many. I know some families would hang like a little clothesline or something similar to that, but some kind of a line or something in the kids' bedrooms, and they can hang or clip their pictures on that. But they can only keep so many, and so they get to choose which ones they keep, and the rest of them they have to let go. So there's that to think about. Mm, okay, I see you there. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, Princess is saying they just don't eat leftovers. So okay, I get that. I think we had that conversation. She's talking to somebody else. So okay, we'll go from there. Oh, now Princessa. Princessa says for mom's kitchen routine, is anyone opposed to paper plates and plasticware? Her husband hates it, but the rest of us don't mind to minimize the cleanup. I do not like paper plates and plasticware. I want to eat off real dishes. I want to use real flatware, that kind of thing. My husband will grab a paper plate in a minute to minimize cleanup, but I do not like paper plates and that kind of thing. So I don't, but this is not no judgment. I personally don't care for paper plates. I personally prefer regular dishes. I got a lot of pretty dishes and I like to use them. However, as a working mom, you have to do you and what works out best for your family. That means if using paper plates, make sure they're biodegradable, and don't use plasticware because it's not biodegradable, but use paper plates that are biodegradable, things that are environmentally friendly, then do that. Because what you want to do is make the use of the time as best as you can so that you're not wearing yourself out so much while you're trying to get a meal on the table, get some things cleaned up every evening, and still have time for you and your boo. So I get it. Let's see. So Dana wants to talk about motivating us older wives to get back into a routine. Empty nester who's lost motivation. I can do that, Dana, because I tell you what, I'll plan a show maybe next week. That's what we can talk about, because it certainly is important that we as empty nesters also stay on top of our routines. But I have to say, I have found a real joy in it just being he and I. Like just, me and my boo, or I say you and your boo. So now it's just you and your boo. And it's really nice that the two of you can come and have that meal together and just do different little things that really kind of bless each other. So yeah, I'll talk about that next week. That's a good topic. So thank you. So we'll do that next week. I'll talk about that instead of something else. So Yeah, okay. I agree. I'll do that. Okay, so people are talking. So Walmart Plus is $100 a year. Is that's for free delivery and shipping plus Paramount Plus. So I had mentioned earlier that certainly ordering your groceries is certainly an option if you're working outside the home. Make your list, make your plan. But okay, so I need to get back to my notes because I've been so busy talking over here. So let me get back to the notes, ladies. I am sorry about me digressing. Okay, so after work, we're looking at the after work routine. So I had mentioned once you get the after dinner routine included, cleaning up after dinner, getting everyone to help, checking backpacks, and then signing needed permission slips, homework, whatever papers need to go on there, new pictures, whatever, get that checked. Look through the mail and put it where it needs to go. You're going to put bills that need to be paid in the action file. You're going to put those flyers in the trash, and then stuff that needs to be filed away is going to go into your file folder for when you're ready to have some quiet time on Sunday afternoon. You're going to start your dishwasher and then fold the clothes that you just got out of the dryer and get those put away or get them hung up. Get your family to help. And again, that shouldn't take more than 30 to 45 minutes. And then your before bed routine where you get your kids done first. So once you've got their baths, PJs, clothes laid out for the next day, they help you pick up the towels and hang them up, get their dirty clothes into the dirty clothes hamper, all that kind of thing. Lay their clothes out the night before, and they need to help do that so you don't have a fit in the morning. But I don't want to wear that. And then include their shoes. Backpacks are put by the door, and then make lunches the night before, and then put them in the fridge. So I had the last question I had asked was, what do people do with lunches? And nobody said a thing. Okay. So Elena says, husband is not helping. Even when I made a communication log, I'm about to throw him out on the street. Give him a blanket. Oh, girl. All right. All right, Elena. This is, you say you don't have time for a bum. I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. Um, you say he's not helping. So the question is, how did you start your marriage? That's the question. So, one thing my mom said to me, and she didn't give me a lot of marital advice, but the one thing she said was this. She said, don't start anything you don't intend to keep up the rest of your life. Don't start anything you don't intend to keep up the rest of your life. Because if you spoil that man, he's going to expect whatever that is the rest of your life. So you guys have heard me say this before, probably, but I decided I was not going to be fixing plates and running back and forth with the bread, the salt, the pepper, and the whole 9 yards like I did when I was a girl at home. So I didn't start that. However, today I have a new understanding and a new feeling, a new respect. We're in a new situation. So I will fix a plate now and I will bring some things over. But then he will also do that for me. So, my question to you is, how did you start out your marriage? Did you start out the marriage with him not helping and it was okay? Did you start out the marriage you just doing everything? Did you let him know it was expected that he would participate? And here's the other thing, what were things like in his first family? In his first family, which is the home that he shared with his mom and his siblings and his dad, who did what? In my first family, the men didn't do a whole lot. Now, my dad could cook and clean and whole 9 yards because my grandma made sure he could. But for the most part, my dad and my brother, they took out the garbage and they mopped the floors, and they polished all the shoes for the family. They cut the grass and they shoveled the snow. That was it. Me and my sisters did everything else. In my husband's first family, again, meaning his home with his mom and dad and siblings, the boys took out the garbage, the boys mopped the floors, and they cut the grass and shoveled the snow, and that was it. And they could fix things around the house. That was it. The girls cooked, cleaned, did the laundry, they did everything else. So, what was it like for your husband in his first family? What is his expectations of his role as a man and your role as a woman? And do the two, his expectations and your expectations, do they meet? Are they congruent or not? Because that could be the problem. So you need to have a discussion as to what is his expectation and what is your expectation and why things aren't being met. Because there could be a reason. I'm not saying he's a bum. I'm not saying he's not a bum because I don't know. But there's probably something going on there as to why he doesn't do anything. And I would invite you to find that out because you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because as one of my sisters said, it's hard out there. So try to find out what's going on. Why doesn't he do anything when you ask? What are his expectations? And let me get this off the screen. It keeps my eye going over there. So that's why I like to get that off of there. So there's that. So, okay. So we talked about the before bed routine. And I asked you guys how you handle lunches, and you guys are having such a great conversation. Oh, yeah, Michelle, girl, we've been going at it. This has been a great conversation today. So now let's talk about you in the before bed, in the bedtime routine. So now that the kids are down and you've got all their stuff out, so now you got to look at you. You're going to get yourself showered and shaved and shampooed and that kind of thing. And then you're going to lay your clothes out the night before so that you're not getting up in the morning scrambling around trying to take care of that. And then I encourage you to do your daily swish and swipe once everyone's down for the night. Get that bathroom, the mirror, the sink wiped out, get the toilet swished out, clean the tub, whatever needs doing, because now everybody's in bed for the night. It's a little quieter. You can get that done. And that's if the dishes are done, the bathroom's clean, and you got clean clothes, you can pretty much run the house. So you're doing pretty good there. So think about that. And then do an evening clutter stop, which is a last walk through the house to see what's gotten out of place. Whatever's gotten out of place, take it to where it belongs. If you got the kids or the family to help you do a clutter stop before they got into bed, then good on you. Then you don't have to do another one. But you could, do another quick clutter stop. And that shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. And so now you've got a little bit of time. Maybe it's 9 o'clock now, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So now you've got maybe from 8:30 to 10:30 or 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock to have a little quiet time with you and your boo, or you by yourself with a cup of tea and a good book, your Bible, whatever it is that you're doing. And I don't invite you or encourage you to try to do too much work after the kids are down for the night, other than making sure your dishwasher's going, you got that load of laundry folded up and put away, and your daily swish and swipe, because you need some time to rest. You don't want to wear yourself out. And depending upon the kind of job that you have, then it's going to be more stressful than others. When I was a young mom, I worked as a nurse in the hospital, and I was working bedside. So when I was at the bedside, I was either working in ICU, I worked ortho, I worked OBGYN, and when I came home, I was exhausted. And so you've worked all day, you're exhausted, and now you come home and you've got things you've got to do there. So you've got to give yourself some time to relax and wind down when you're at home. So think about that. So when you try to set up these routines for yourself, you want them to be short. You don't want to plan too much because, again, you don't want to wear yourself out. And those are the things that I think you really need to think about doing. And then here's the big difference between the mom that's working, um, that's a the difference between a payroll homemaker and a stay-at-home mom. Because even if you're staying at home all day, but you're working for yourself or somebody else, you count as a payroll homemaker. Saturday and Sunday are going to need to be used for your housekeeping because, again, I encourage you not to wear yourself out and trying to work until you drop into bed. So there's little things that need to be done that you probably can't get done during the week as well. So when I look at my week, and if depending upon what I've got going on this week, if I've got a busy week going on with the Apron Diva business, or a busy week going on with video for this and that with Denise, then I'm operating as a payroll homemaker. And so I'm only going to get my daily swish and swipe done and maybe a load of laundry done during the week. And I'm going to have to spend Saturday and Sunday getting my other stuff done. But, my weekly home blessing, if I don't get that done on Monday, then I move that to Saturday. Tuesday's my free day. Wednesday is my planning day. But if I spent Wednesday getting ready for the show or trying to take care of some other business, then I'm going to be doing my planning on Sunday afternoon when things are quiet. So that kind of thing. And then any laundry, I'm going to continue to throw a load of laundry in first thing every morning, get that out, get it folded up and get it put away because I can't take the laundry out and put it in a basket and then just let it sit. I don't allow myself to do that anymore. Now, when I was a younger housewife, I didn't know all of the things that I know now, but that's why when I want to mentor these young housewives, I want to help them not develop some of the bad habits that we can get into that can be detrimental just to our own mental health. Because, when you've got this load of laundry, like I forget now who said they had this big load of laundry that they needed to fold up, you feel sometimes a little shame or you don't give yourself grace and you think, well, how come so and so can keep such a clean house and I can't? What's wrong? What do I do wrong that my house looks like this? And their house is always neat. Well, they probably have a routine that they follow that helps them to do that. So I'll be spending 1 or 2 hours on Saturday morning getting the cleaning done that doesn't happen during the week. So if you're a payroll homemaker, even if you're working from home, then you're going to be spending a couple of hours on Saturday or Sunday. And if you get up early on Saturday, let's say you sleep in until 8 o'clock. Normally during the week, you're up at 6 or 6:30. Maybe you sleep in until 8 o'clock on Saturday, or maybe you go ahead and get up at 6:30 on Saturday so that by 8:30, 9 o'clock, you've got your homemaking, your house cleaning, I should say, done. And you've got the rest of the day free to spend with your family. Sometimes you just have to do it like that. You just have to take it when it comes. Okay, let me come back over here and check out the chat now because the chat has been hopping today. And Michelle, I'm so glad that you are here. I think my mouse, there it goes. So, Elena, again, hopefully as I come down, you'll let me know about what is your husband's, what was his first family like, and what was your first family like, and what your expectations are and what his are. But he needs to know what your expectations are. And he also needs to know that you are serious too. Because he may not think, well, she'll get over it. He may think that. So think about what is it that how you guys can discuss calmly him giving you more help in the house. Because like I agree, it's like I'm not the maid. We live here together and we need to work on things here together. So let's see. Oh, Okay, so Sally, thank you. See, I didn't know that. So it says bamboo silverware will biodegrade in about 90 days. So it's a great choice if using plastics and throwing out. I did not know that. So thank you. I'm gonna boom, give you a boom for that one because yeah, that's important information. I did not know that. Uh, so Michelle says she tries to clean up while making dinner. Yeah, clean as you go. Like have a sink full of soapy water so that as you're making dinner, you can wash up as much as you can. But Michelle says she's always too tired after dinner to clean up, but it's not too messy. You know, though, today I think it was Dana earlier who was talking about empty nesters. We are so different with one another now than what we used to be. And so after dinner, my husband automatically, he gets up, he starts clearing the table, especially if I made a nice dinner, he'll start clearing the table. He'll help to load the dishwasher. I will put the food and stuff away and we'll work together getting that after dinner cleanup done. That didn't always happen, but it happens now. It was a gradual process that we've learned to work through. So Princessa says for lunches, it's a Sunday meal prep for them. It's easier to get snacks and drinks in order, and the sandwiches are made fresh the morning of. Okay, that's good. Yeah, don't start. Well, Brooks, it's not starting bad habits. It's don't start. As my mom said, habits you don't want to continue because there may come a time once you start having little ones that you won't have the time to do some of these things. And if he's used to you doing these things, it's gonna be like, well, what's wrong with her? I'm not expecting anything different. So just think about that. Think about what is it that you can live with and what he can live with. And again, think about your first families and what the expectations were because the home you grew up in, that's your first family. The home you live in now, that's your second family. And if it's a marriage that, let's say you married someone that has been married before, well, what were the expectations of the previous home? They could be bringing that baggage with them. So you have to think about all that. So Michelle says her husband used to help out more, but over the last couple of years, it's less. But here's the thing, Michelle. I think you're home more now, though, too. And because when you were younger, you worked outside the home, and then you were home most of the time. So I don't know. He might feel like he doesn't need to help as much if you're there all day and can get it done. So, but So Princessa is sharing some information about how you can save money on hired help, and here are some places that you can use um, to get some hired help. So that's nice to have. And so there's people talking to her about that, and I've been seeing a lot online lately about people coming in to help. Michelle said when she was worked outside the home, she would pay her nieces to help her. Yeah, you can pay family members to help. Hey, Miss Jones, it is so good to have you here. Yes, it has been so fun. This has been a great discussion. We have been really going through. It's been a great discussion. So Sue says yes, she's agreeing that what you do early in the marriage, you have to keep up. She said her mom always prepared her dad's plate and presented it to him. She did that for 50 years, and she was not a stay-at-home mom. 50, she did that over 50 years with 7 kids. Well, Sue, this is funny, and I used to tell this story, but there were six of us, plus, my mom and dad. And this was in the 50s. And my dad would come in, he would sit down at the table, and my mom would, me and all the rest of us girls, we would help. We would bring the salt, the pepper, the bread, whatever, bring him his plate, whatever. And he would sit there We ironed all his clothes. And when the girls got old enough to iron, we got to iron dad's clothes as well to help mom out. So when I thought, when I get married, I'm not doing that. And so when I got married, I thought, I'm not going to be running around fixing plates. And I did not. And my husband did not expect that of me because I didn't. And I don't know if Mrs. Jordan fixed Mr. Jordan's plate or not, but I just, I'm not going to do that. And so we lived in this little apartment in Bloomington, Indiana. We were seniors at IU, and we were down there, and mom and dad came down to visit. And I think the babies, they must have came down. The babies were little, probably under 6 months old, but they came down to visit for whatever reason. And dad came and I had dinner ready. So dad went and sat down at the table and fixing plates and all the stuff and bringing it over to dad. My husband's like, wait a minute. So he goes and sits down at the table beside my father. And I look at him like, this man has lost his mind. Well, I didn't want to create a scene with my parents there. So now I'm fixing his plate and bringing stuff to him and all of that. So later on, he talks to his brothers and he talks about King Stewart. To this day, he will talk about King Stewart. I'm like, yeah, her dad came and sat down at my table like he's a doggone king, and she's scurrying all around. And I'm like, what the heck? So he goes and sits down. And it's just funny. But that was not a habit that I wanted to start. So I did not. And then when he saw me doing that for my dad, he was like, wait a minute. This is my house. I'm the king of this castle. So he always laughs about that. But okay. Yeah, Princessa, this has been a good discussion. But you know what, though? There was oh, Frugalnista is on. Hi, Frugalnista. I'm so glad you're here today. It is really nice for you to drop in. And you know what? You're right. Maids do actually get paid. Moms so often don't. Okay. So Sue says that when her mom saw her newly married older sister didn't prepare her brother-in-law's plates, her mouth dropped open. And I have to tell you, I have one brother-in-law who is spoiled rotten. His mother-in-law lived with them when him and his wife got married, and they both worked outside the home. So she just waited on him hand and foot. I mean, she was very old school. So when he comes to visit, I'm like, I am not fixing your plate. Like, you better go get in line like everybody else. Anyway, there was something that I was going to say about that, but yeah, and I just think that it's just something to think about. But they had a storyline on Blackish one day about fixing plates, and it really made me think a lot about it differently. And because the grandmother, who was, like, she was older than the couple who were having this discussion, because if you've not seen Blackish, the wife is a doctor. I think she's an OBGYN, and then the husband works in marketing somewhere or whatever, but they're pretty affluent. And the mother, his grandmother was there, and I don't know, they were having a conversation about plate fixing or whatever. And she talked about how sometimes, well, not sometimes, how back in their day, that how so often how the men were treated, and that she thought, if he's treated so poorly outside the home and treated less than a man, the least I can do when he comes home is fix him a plate. I was just like, it just struck my heart because I had not thought about it from that perspective. I had not. And for those of you who are on here that are not people of color, who have men who experience different things than what your family might experience, you probably wouldn't have thought about it like that. But when she said that, it was just like, I was like, oh, I just literally gasped because I had not thought about it that way. So it really made me think about the things that I do for him a little bit differently too. But that's a whole different conversation. Okay, so, and then Frugalista said that her grandmother said the same thing to her about fixing her husband's plate. So see, Frugalista, I'm wondering if those older women all were thinking about some of those lines. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So Bonnie, oh, I'm sorry, Bonita. My girlfriend, I used to have a girlfriend named Bonita, and we called her Bonnie. So, but she says one area she's struggling with is making her meals separately because she eats plant-based and trying to figure out how to not make two meals. You know what, Bonita, just give the family plant-based. They won't always know. So I've been eating plant-based for the last 3 weeks. Now that we're done with this, I can say we've been on a Daniel fast for 3 weeks for church. And it was a struggle cooking plant-based because that's not how I normally cooked. But I did learn to think about breakfast, lunch, and dinner differently. And I'm thinking I could probably embrace this eating plan. And so, and he went on the eating plan with me. So bring your family along for the most part. So if you're making, I don't know, well, you can't make chicken and dumplings without the chicken, but there are some meals that you could do on a day-to-day basis where you're not making two meals, one for you and one for the family, and just kind of try to blend it as much as possible. Make us like either start it one way for yourself, and then once you take out, set aside a little bit and then finish it up with whatever you need for the family. Like, for example, tacos, for example. You guys know Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, and I like to make tacos or some kind of Mexican themed dish on Tuesday. That is a dish that you can make without meat, make it completely plant-based, and your family would love it. Now, your husband may be saying, like, oh, where's the meat? I don't see any meat here. Well, you don't have to have meat. Say, well, this particular one is going to be meatless, but you can do that. Or you could cook the ground beef or the chicken, or make some tofu scramble and have the different little toppings for the tacos set out. And then people build their own tacos or their own burrito bowl or whatever. And it's one dish that everyone can eat. So try to think about that way. I made some cabbage soup the other day that was absolutely delicious, and there was no meat in it. I used vegetable broth, that kind of thing. So you can make the cabbage soup and then maybe chop up some chicken and have that in a bowl that they can add that to the soup or something like that. So think about ways, Bonita, I'm sorry. Think about ways to be creative that you're not always fixing two meals. And just kind of gradually get them more and more plant-based stuff. Now, your husband may not ever want to completely convert to a plant-based diet. And I get that. But your children can learn to eat that. What you might need to do though is have a conversation with him where you say, babe, when I make a plant-based meal or we have this or that with dinners, it would be helpful to me if you don't disparage the food, if you don't make negative comments about plant-based or whatever, if you could talk positive about it so that the kids will eat this as well. Because if dad says, ew, then the kids are going to say, ew. So that's the thing. Oh, and I was listening to Kimmy the other day, and she was so funny. She said that if she makes something and the person that says, ew, I don't like that, they got an extra scoop. So, and I just had to laugh when I had heard her say that. I said, oh, Kimmy's an old school mom too. So yeah, to think about it that way, but think about ways that you can create meals that they don't necessarily know are plant-based. Like I made potato soup for dinner today, and I made it for the most part, it was vegan almost. So I have to tell you, like I said, for 21 days, we ate completely vegan based, no animal products or whatever, because we tried to follow the Daniel diet as much as possible. So I had this recipe for potato soup, and it called for vegetable broth, which I had because I made some vegetable broth on Sunday for this broccoli soup that I was making. And it called, I used the 4 cups of vegetable broth that it was called for, but I needed another cup of broth and I didn't have any more thawed out. So I thought, what the heck, I'll put in a cup of chicken broth. So I did that. And then the toppings that you can put on it, this was a low calorie potato soup, not necessarily a vegan one, but I added coconut milk to it instead of regular milk. But I did cook some turkey bacon and crumbled up turkey bacon on top for that. And we had potato soup for dinner. And then I had like peaches and that kind of thing on the side, which I didn't eat any of because I was full. But think about how you can combine the two as much as possible. I don't know. Maybe we should we do a show about meal planning one day, guys? I haven't done that, but uh, who is that? Oh, Sewing Balance. Hello. I don't think I've had you visit us before. Thank you so much. This has been a great discussion today. I mean, we are really getting into it, and it's really been a good discussion. So, guys, Bonita wants to know, is anyone else dieting or on an alternative diet and struggling when family members aren't on the same diet? Now, I will say that my husband, I am married to the big fisherman of the Midwest. We have a freezer full of freshly caught fish that is now frozen. I don't eat fish. I eat tuna fish and tuna salad sandwiches, tuna casserole. That's it. I don't eat salmon. I might eat a salmon croquet if I'm forced to, but I just don't do fish. So he likes to have fish 2 or 3 times a week. So when he has fish, I just have something else. I'll make the sides, and whatever sides he's having with his fish, I can just have those, or I might have some leftover chicken or something like that. But you guys, let's help Bonnie out here. Let's see what else is going on. Michelle, not sure what that is. Gigi down here is laughing. Now, Bonnie says, what a nourishing conversation for women. We all struggle sometimes with our men, but we got to love them. And we do. We all struggle with something different. I remember once one of my friends said, everybody puts up with something. It's just different. So we all put up with something. It's just different. Oh, King Stewart. Yeah, that's what my husband would. And he will tell that story to this day. If him and his brothers get to talking and they get to telling stories and whatever, and one of them is on top of the other one, he always tells his story about King Stewart. So Michelle says when she was a kid, they served food family style. You put it on the table and you passed it around the table so we all fixed our own plates, including my dad. And that's what I did when the kids were little. I served it family style. I would put the food in the middle of the table, then everybody would fix their own. That particular Blackish show, I don't know the name of it, but I bet if you Google it and just kind of mention the subtext or the sub theme, it'll probably come up. Oh, Terry, girl, this has been a good show. This has been a good show. We have been really having a good conversation. Yes, now, Sally, that's a great idea. Make the meat as a side and let them add it in. So you can certainly do that. And I have gotten quite creative this past 3 weeks in having meatless meals, and it's really been a lot of fun. And I'm not one who likes to like try to use artificial things, but I'm learning to use tofu, which is a natural thing. And so there's different ways that you can do that. So yeah, Miss Jones. So Sewing Balance says that the same with her family. She will cook 3 plant-based sides with a meat plus a plant-based dessert, so it covers the family. So there you go. That's a way that you can do that. So Sewing Balance, what is your name? We like to try to call each other by names over here. So what is your name so that we can remember next time? And then Michelle has making a comment to Bonnie about she had a hard time when she went gluten free, but she learned how to work around it. So, sewing balance again, what is your name? But you were trying plant based, and your family said no. Go ahead and give them plant based stuff, though. See, they eat plant food. For example, I'm sure they probably eat green beans, they probably eat potatoes, they probably eat corn. All those things are plant based. So you're just gonna maybe subtract a meat maybe one day and have some kind of a plant-based protein for one meal. Maybe start with one meal a week, or yeah, start with one meal a week, and then just kind of see what happens. Sue says do a meal plan. Okay, I have to come up with that. That one's going to take a little bit more time. Oh, Miss Jones, that's a great idea. She had a wellness Wednesdays where she would introduce healthy meals. I like that idea. Oh, sewing balance. Her name is Wanda. Okay, Princess. So now I'm going to ask you. So are the rest of the shows boring? Not sure. But this has been a great conversation today. It really has. And I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. And oh my goodness, I didn't realize we have been on as long as we did. Well, let me make sure I've covered everything. So we talked about the routines. And if you missed last week's show where I talked about doing block scheduling and things like that for our moms that are working at home all day, blah, 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 blah. If you missed last week's conversation, when I talked about for our stay at home moms and how block scheduling might be helpful for you, revisit that show because I think that could prove useful for those of you that are stay at home moms. And then for Brooks, who is working at home on her own business, but she's working full time, you might want to look into block scheduling in regards to that and figuring out how you can do your work and your um, home housekeeping stuff that way. Okay. And then for those of you that have just joined us, we have been talking about creating a housekeeping routine, a cleaning routine for working moms. And I also mentioned that I'm starting my mentoring program for young homemakers. And if you're interested, that you will want to send me an email here. And let's see. I forgot to mention our monthly tasks. So when we talked about the deep cleaning that goes along with monthly tasks or zone cleaning, those of you that are working full time, those payroll homemakers, you're going to be doing your zone cleaning or deep cleaning on the weekends. So you're going to be spending a couple of hours on Saturday morning and getting it done, but just two, and then it's done. Now, if you are a homemaker that lives in an area in an apartment, or you don't have your own washer and dryer in the building that you're in or the facility that you're in, and you've got to go to the laundromat to do your laundry, then you're going to spend probably Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Well, hopefully Sunday morning you're at church, but Saturday morning you're going to be spending doing laundry, or Sunday afternoon after church you're going to be doing laundry. And if that's the case, fold that laundry while you're at the laundromat. And then when you get home, put it away as soon as you get home and have everyone help you put it away. Even a 2-year-old can carry a couple of pairs of socks to wherever they are in their room, and they can put them in their drawer just to kind of get them into the habit of helping to do stuff. So you're going to be doing the zone work, which is your deep cleaning on the weekend. I think that's there. And as I mentioned earlier, try not to plan too much in one day because you don't want to wear yourself out. Progress is your key word. And so, how can you make a routine that makes a difference in your homekeeping? Tell me in the comment section if you're on the replay, in the chat if you're here. And then please do check out my last video, which I forget the name of it, but I check out my last video out link it in the description box below. And then also, I want to remind everyone too that our friend D at D Lovely Life, they're doing a fundraiser to help pay for Queen G's cat's vet bill. Queen G had to take her cat to the vet, and she's got a vet bill that's over $10,000. So go to D. Well, I'll link D's channel in the description box as well. There's nothing in there right now, but there will be. But so come back and check that out. And if you want to donate some money to help Queen G pay for her cat, they would definitely appreciate that as well. Thank you guys for joining me. And next week, we'll talk about us empty nesters and creating routines to kind of help get us motivated. And we'll go from there. So bye. Good night.